At this point in time, I'd like to call this meeting of the Middlesex County Board of Trustees and Freeholders to order. Please rise for a moment of silence. In your thoughts and prayers, please remember former Carteret Councilman Alex Buddy Zaheda. Dennis, salute to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Notice of this meeting pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-10, has been complied with and shall be entered into the minutes of this meeting.
Roll call.
Freeholder Barrett Belante. Freeholder Delina. Freeholder Polos.
Here.
Freeholder Rios.
Here.
Freeholder Tamaro.
Here.
Freeholder Valenti.
Here.
Freeholder Director Rufano.
Here. Commemorative resolutions.
We have several this evening. The first is recognizing the 25th annual ceremony of the Piscataway Civil Rights Commission in memory of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. Next is recognizing the annual Night of Celebration service of the Union Baptist Church in South River in memory of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. Next is recognizing Stephen Tarabetsky and William Billy Carlbon of the Avenel Fire Company for their heroism, which resulted in saving a kindergartner who left school and was attempting to cross routes 1 and 9 intersection. And last is recognizing Cody Joseph Kapitsky of Boy Scout Troop 888, as he has achieved his Eagle Scout Award.
I need a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Motion by Deputy Director Rios, seconded by Freeholder Valente. Roll call.
Freeholder Polos.
Yes.
Freeholder Rios.
Yes.
Freeholder Tamaro.
Yes.
Freeholder Valenti.
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rufano.
Yes. At this point in time, I'd like to recognize Deputy Director Rios for the presentation.
Also in attendance tonight are Dean Menente, President of the Avenel Board of Fire Commissioners, John Mitch, First Vice President, Earl Runkle, Second Vice President, Bruce Mizak, and Andrew Mazzarella from the Avenel Fire Company.
If firefighters Steve Tarabetsky and Billy Carbon could come up, please. Guys would like to stand over here. I'd just like to let everyone know that our two firefighters here from the Avenel Fire Department did an unbelievable job. They really did step up to the plate. It's just amazing how alert they were and the catastrophe that they avoided. A little 5-year-old boy was getting ready to cross Route 1 and 9 in Avenel. Yeah. And through their alertness and their quick response, they avoided a tragedy because it could have been really terrible. And Steve Tarabetsky, 35-year veteran, fire veteran, and Billy Carlburn, a 27-year veteran, really did an unbelievable job. And I'm sure the boys' parents are very happy for your quick action. And we certainly are happy, and we want to recognize you and say congratulations for a job well done. And it's not only but it's not only fighting fires, it's doing other things like this that make you special people, and we appreciate that. Thank you. Sure.
Doing our everyday job.
Thank you. Okay.
Correspondence.
Each freeholder has been provided with a list of correspondence received by the clerk's office since our last meeting. This correspondence will be kept on file in the office of the clerk of the board for reference.
Need a motion to accept the correspondence?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Deputy Director Rios, seconded by Freeholder Tamaro. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Margaret?
The director has received a letter from the Woodbridge Mayor, John McCormick, requesting $6,500,000 in open space funds to purchase the development rights of the 104-acre Colonia Country Club.
I need a motion to refer this matter to the Open Space Committee for review.
So moved.
Motion by Deputy Director Rios, seconded by Freeholder Valente. Roll call.
Freeholder Polos,
Yes.
Freeholder Rios,
Yes.
Freeholder Tamaro,
Yes.
Freeholder Valenti, Freeholder Director Rafano.
Yes. Okay, now it's time for reports of freeholders. Freeholder H. James Paulos.
Thank you, Freeholder Director. Item 144 on our agenda tonight is for the purchase of two what are called low-floor buses. These are actually used buses, 1998 or better. It is the first time that the county is actually going to be purchasing buses that are used. Now, that may sound a little odd for county government to be buying used vehicles, but it's actually a very innovative way to be able to experiment with a new type of bus that will provide much easier access for those who are disabled and for senior citizens who run along our M3 route, which is from East Brunswick to Old Bridge. About 80% of the passengers who use that shuttle are elderly or disabled, and the low-floor buses will allow a ramp access as opposed to the customary 3 or 4 step access into a regular style bus. Those buses normally are much more expensive. We're able to take advantage of a discount through this purchase program. These buses are going to cost the county about $20,000 less per bus than they normally would cost if they were new, and it's going to allow our transportation department to experiment, if you will, with this new type of bus to see how it can improve the efficiency of the operation, and most importantly, also provide better access to those who are disabled and those who are elderly. So I want to thank Steve Fattanti, our transportation director, for kind of this innovative approach and purchasing, and our legal people for helping us walk through, which is really kind of uncharted waters for us as far as purchasing this type of a vehicle, and we thank you for that. We had a very successful meeting today of our START program. This is the School Training and Response Team. We did some tabletop exercises as part of the training, working on developing incident command system training services for our staff and team, working very closely with the Department of Homeland Security and also the Education Association. So it's really a wonderful undertaking, and we're making great progress in trying to develop this new initiative to help our schools become better prepared to deal with school emergencies. The focus of START is to create a trained group, a train-the-trainer group, so to speak, of individuals who are involved in our schools, who can provide schools with better planning techniques, become a group that can provide incident critique during drills, and also become a response mechanism in the event of an incident in a school, and certainly help the school during the recovery period, being able to open the doors once again after a terrible incident may occur in that school. We made good progress with our countywide shared service car wash initiative. We should have our revised plans in this week. We'll be able to share that with the member municipalities. All of the New Brunswicks are partnering with Middlesex County in this new endeavor. And once those new drawings come in, I'll also be sharing them with the Freeholder Board so we can move ahead with the second phase of planning and design for this new initiative. This past, I guess about a month or a half ago or so, I approached Freeholder Pete Delina with an idea, as well as Ralph Albanier, relating to trash collection in our parks. As a result of that, with their blessing, we had some conversations with some communities regarding the possibility of municipalities picking up trash within our county park system, as opposed to utilizing an outside private company, which has really been the way that the county's been operating for a number of years. The point behind this initiative was to try to have our municipalities enjoy the benefits of the revenues that the county would provide, as opposed, again, to an outside private contractor. Communities obviously are struggling today with economies, looking for revenue opportunities, and we felt that there could also be a savings for the county, so it became a win-win. If the county could save money and the towns could make money and we keep the taxpayer dollars within the public sector, that's a good thing. Good things like that don't occur, even though they may sound like a good idea in their initial stages. They don't occur without partnerships. And this past week, in fact, I received a phone call from a local newspaper because Spotswood had discussed this proposal in their public meeting. I don't think the article did justice insofar as, and certainly tried to assist it, but sometimes articles are what they are. It didn't do justice to really point out the partnership that got the planning of this project to this stage. And I should emphasize that this is just in the planning stages right now. Nothing's been finalized with any communities, certainly not with the county. It's just in the discussion phase. But what's important here to recognize, and I want to take a moment to do that, is the ability as a freeholder to be able to work with somebody like Pete Delina and Ralph Albanere. It's very easy to come up with an idea, but it's sometimes more difficult to have it so warmly received and be able to have a good working partnership to be able to see an idea at least work through the process and hopefully come to fruition. I'm mindful that several years ago I approached freeholder Delina about integrating, using integrated pest management in the county parks to make our environment cleaner and our water safer to drink. And again, he warmly embraced that and accepted that and worked with, we worked as a team to help implement that. Several years ago when we decided to change over to hybrid vehicles, Pete was the first one to work with the initiative to change the entire park rangers fleet to hybrid vehicles. And every time I speak about the hybrid vehicle fleet that we have, I always mention the fact that Pete was really so willing to partner to make that happen. So I just want to publicly say that ideas are great, initiatives are great, partnerships are most important, and working as a team, again, makes these things so very successful. So, Ralph, I want to publicly thank you for putting the time and effort into this initiative to at least evaluate it. And as we've probably said sometimes behind closed doors, it's much easier to leave it the way it is than it is to try a new initiative. But it takes courage to try a new initiative, and you and Pete certainly have that, and I want to personally thank you on behalf of the residents of Middlesex County for doing that. Last item, I'd just like to make a recommendation, Director, and maybe I can send a memo out, but I noticed today that as we started to speak, everybody leaves because we do our resolutions first. I think we used to do it in reverse order for a long period of time, and I guess I'm going to respectfully recommend that maybe we should go back to the way that we used to do it, where we do the freeholder reports before the commemorative resolutions and be able to retain our audience a little bit. Thank you.
Thanks. Deputy Director Ron Rios.
Thank you, Director. The Fire Academy is providing our training course schedule for the spring semester of 2011 to offer pump operator operations training, confined space operations and technician rope rescue operations, various type of firefighter training sessions throughout the spring semester for this year. The Fire Academy has developed several new courses that have been added to our course curriculum. As far as the adult corrections, later this year at the Adult Corrections Center, we will celebrate the 10-year anniversary of the Adult Substance Abuse Program for inmates that are held there. The program, commonly called ASAP, is a 90-day behavior modification program for inmates with substance abuse issues. The program incorporates individual counseling and group therapy, and it operates in conjunction with volunteers from Narcotics Anonymous and Alcoholics Anonymous. And it's a really great program, and it has a strong alumni association that is very instrumental in the aftercare for these graduates. We have about 50 graduates each year from this program. And our program is the only state licensed drug and alcohol program of its kind in New Jersey. And it's at no cost to the county. The residents of the Juvenile Detention Center will be participating in the Prison SMART program, which stands for Stress Management and Rehabilitation Training. And it's run by the organization, the International Association for Human Values. And it's a great program. It runs over 6 days and will target residents in the detention center. The program has run successfully for 16 years in other facilities around the world. And the Middlesex County Detention Center will be the first juvenile center in the state to participate in such a program. As far as our Office of Emergency Management, on tonight's agenda will be a resolution to accept a $50,000 emergency management assistance pass-through grant program for our emergency management. So it's great things are happening here, and obviously there is a winter advisory for tonight, and hopefully everyone will be safe and careful. And that's my report, Director.
Thank you, Deputy Director. Freeholder Tamara?
Thank you, Director. The North Jersey Transportation Planning Board had the reorganization meeting on January 10th, and elected chairman was Freeholder Daniel P. Sullivan. The highlight of the meeting was to speak about the 511 program, which is a program that provides real travel time information to state highway travelers. It launched in 2007, its website, and it goes, at that time it was 16 hours a day, 5 days a week. Now today it's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 24 hours and 7 days. And it gives you all the information about travel time. And their website is 511newjersey.org. And they are pretty soon going to come up online through smartphone apps, RSS feeds, and widgets. And you'll be able to download them and get real-time traffic issues in your around the state. So that's all I have to report.
Thank you, Freeholder. Freeholder Blanquita Valente.
Thank you, Freeholder Director. I just want to announce that Middlesex County is going to conduct the annual survey of the homeless. Last year, we counted approximately 1,536 homeless men, women, and children in Middlesex County. There's two sites for the count. One is in Perth Amboy at the Salvation Army shelter, and the other one is here in New Brunswick at Elijah's Promise Soup Kitchen on 18 Nelson Street, and from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. There will be a number of volunteers that will conduct street outreach visits to indoor and outdoor locations where homeless persons tend to congregate or reside. And unfortunately, the statistical count only reflects a portion of those individuals who are homeless or at risk of homelessness in our county and the state. And it might be a different count this year, but think of people that don't have a home, don't have a shelter, and on a night like tonight, how terrible it must be. The chairman of Coming Home of Middlesex County Incorporated is Robert E. Mulcahy III, and he acknowledges that we have pledged to end homelessness in Middlesex County, hopefully within 10 years. This is a plan that, strategic plan that is pushing to create affordable, accessible, supportive, and permanent housing for persons and families in need. There are just too many, and too many of our school children are among those that are homeless. There will be corporations and other groups that will be helping out for dental and healthcare services for homeless people visiting two of the sites. The New Jersey Dental Association has contributed dental hygiene supplies, and the New Jersey Department of Human Services Commission for the Blind and Visually Impaired will perform eye screenings to detect vision problems and glaucoma suspects at the Elijah's Promise Soup Kitchen and Salvation Army sites. There's also a rumor that perhaps Commissioner Jennifer Velez of DCA will be visiting our county on the 26th, but that we're not sure of. So that's the end of my report. And again, I want to make sure that you realize that there's a number of community agencies that are involved in this point in time project, Homeless Connected Services, and they are the Cathedral in Perth Amboy, the Housing Coalition, Social Services, Social Security, Vietnam Vets of America, Catholic Charities, a men's shelter, and they'll be open for showers, and on and on. The list is very endearing because it shows that a lot of people are very, very aware of these poor homeless people. And among them also is the eye bank, which will conduct eye exams and the New Jersey Dental Association, as well as PrEP, for the CAP and home energy assistance. And the Salvation Army in Perth Amboy will also have their facilities open, and they will be conducting things like blood pressure screening, haircuts. The vocational schools are going to have young people there for an hour and a half doing haircuts, among other things. So I just wanted to remind everyone that this is coming up on January 26th, and that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Freeholder. Mr. Kelso, are there any resolutions to be amended?
There are none.
Any resolutions to be added?
There are none.
Any resolutions to be held?
There are none.
Any resolutions to be voided?
There are none.
At this point in time, I'd like to open the meeting up to a public discussion on any resolutions listed on the agenda. Anyone from the public? Yes, sir. Mr. Stewart, remember there's a 5-minute rule?
It'd probably take me more than 5 minutes just to discuss the backward move you've made with the agenda. This is about as pitiful. Couldn't you find any smaller print to print it on? And could you find any more space to waste on it? Because there's more white space on this than on 10 of the previous agenda. Page 5. Keep in mind, all change is not necessarily progress. How do I get, we have a new freeholder handling, well, that's one of the points I want to bring. I liked the old agenda with the department head because I knew where to get the information. The department heads are 5 days a week. The freeholders are not. And whether we have to try to figure out how to get through, if you're trying to discourage the public from finding out what you're up to, that's something to look at.
Mr. Stewart, I just spoke to the administrator. We're going to consider that, and maybe we can add that to the agenda now on a new system. Identify the department head. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Under the Housing and Community Development, you've got all of these schedules. How can I get to see the schedules? That's the rent. So,
Actually, directly through the department head. Through the department head. The schedule's actually attached to the resolution, each one of them separately.
yeah.
But the list, there's a main list that can be got directly from the department head, just as you have any questions for the department head.
Yeah, because I'm just, every once in a while I have looked at some of them in the past, because as you say, they were attached to the resolution which
And they still
Margaret had.
And they are available online also.
Online, what's that? Is that some French word or Greek or forget it?
By the way, this is reflected the way it always has been reflected, Mr. Stewart. I thought you were familiar with it.
Page 9. Down here on 109. Again, I keep seeing from time to time, and more often than I want to, the residency waivers. Why do we need to have residency waivers? Very rarely, I think that somebody has got some expertise.
Yes.
But I'm looking at this, a clerk. We don't have enough people with that capability in Middlesex County?
Generally speaking, Mr. Stewart, that's a civil service title. My understanding in this particular individual, she has experience with the particular aspect of what the prosecutor's office was looking for, and they do advertise and look first for Middlesex County residents. However, you should also be aware that in all these cases where you have a residency waiver, there is a requirement that they make a good faith effort to move back in, or to the county within 1 year.
Within 1 year?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's good news. Page 10, let me see what I've got on page 10. Oh, that page 10, we've already, you and I talked about that, the Transportation Coordinating Committee, the membership.
Yes. That's also attached to the resolution.
To get that, I have to go to Margaret.
Yeah.
That's the
Or
easiest.
go online, Richard.
I don't use that language. Sounds obscene. Page 10. My nephew, about 2 years ago, wanted to give me a computer, and I said, no way, no way. I'm leaving that to the next generation.
Time.
Sorry, Mr. Stewart.
Okay, I'll get you on that, because you're probably behind these overpriced chairs that the prosecutor's getting.
Anybody else from the public?
Motion to close.
Second.
Motion by Deputy Director Rios, seconded by Freeholder Tamaro. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Does any freeholder have any resolution that they wish to be removed from the consent agenda and voted on separately? I have one. 0064. Anybody else? Mr. Kelso?
Yes, Freeholder Director, a motion would then be in order to adopt the consent agenda consisting of resolution numbers 11-46 through 11-146, excluding resolution 11-64 to be voted upon separately.
Need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Deputy Director Rios, seconded by Freeholder Valente. Roll call.
Freeholder Polos?
Yes.
Freeholder Rios?
Yes.
Freeholder Tamaro?
Yes.
Freeholder Valenti?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rufano?
Yes.
Now, Director, it would be in order to consider the resolution excluded by you, and that would be resolution 11-64.
I make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Tamaro, seconded by Freeholder Valente. Roll call.
Freeholder Polos?
Yes.
Freeholder Rios?
Yes.
Freeholder Tamaro?
Yes.
Freeholder Valenti?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rufano?
Present, not voting. Okay. Now I'd like to open up to the public. Anyone from the public wish to comment on any item? Anyone from the public? Mr. Stewart?
Let me come back to
Remember, there's a 5-minute rule?
Yeah, yeah. Maybe you can, someone can shed some light. I'm just curious, on this item 142, there's a validation agreement with the prosecutor for the parking. Can you give me a clue as to what that is like? I know what validation is, and I'm just curious what sort of an agreement they have with the prosecutor.
Well, what the resolution says, Mr. Stewart, is that those that are using the parking facilities who are victims and/or witnesses involved in criminal investigations and prosecutions, their parking gets validated, so they don't have to pay for it.
Yeah, yeah. What, who is picking, are you paying, is the county, what is the county
The county
paying?
would be paying the parking authority.
What are they paying?
I don't know off the top of my head the rate, but it's the rate that we pay for all of our parking. I just don't recall.
Or is it, because a lot of businesses have the validation,
Right.
and I've never really known what they pay for the validation stickers.
I actually think all the businesses have negotiated their own agreements, but as far as the county's concerned, because we have a lot of parking, we have a preferred rate, and I think the validation carries over from the same rate that the county has for all its parking.
And how do I
I just
find out
don't
what,
remember what the rate is.
how do I find out what that rate is?
We can get that.
Yeah,
we
we
can
can
get it
get it
for
for you. You can call my office or call Margaret. We'll have it for Margaret.
Thank you.
Anybody else from the public?
Motion to close.
Second.
Motion by Deputy Director Rios, seconded by Freeholder Tamaro. And all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. I need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion. Second.
A motion by Deputy Director Rios, seconded by Freeholder Valente. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Meeting adjourned.